What would you do if you discovered that St. John Paul II kept a spiritual secret he never revealed in his public homilies? A method of consecration to Our Lady so powerful that, according to accounts from people close to the Holy Pope, it was capable of performing extraordinary and inexplicable miracles. Recently discovered documents in the Vatican archives reveal that John Paul II possessed a unique method of Marian consecration that he practiced every day, from his youth in occupied Poland until his final moments as Pope. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, today we're going to dive into one of the deepest spiritual treasures of the modern Catholic Church, St. John Paul II's secret method of Marian consecration. Before we continue with this extraordinary revelation, I want to invite you to actively participate in this grace. Put your name and where you're from in the comments so that we can pray for you. Our prayer community will be interceding for Our Lady through this secret method of consecration to pour out special graces on your life and your family. In 1979, during his first visit to Poland as Pope, John Paul II did something that seemed impossible. In front of more than 1 million Poles gathered in Victory Square in Warsaw, he pronounced the words that would change the course of history. Be not afraid, open the doors to Christ. What few know is that on the night before this historic speech, John Paul II spent hours in prayer, performing his secret ritual of consecration to Our Lady. Witnesses report that he remained kneeling before an icon of Our Lady of Częstochowa for more than 3 hours, in a state that seemed like mystical ecstasy. One of the Pope's secretaries, who requested anonymity, revealed years later, "That night, I saw something I had never witnessed before. The Pope was surrounded by a soft light while praying, and murmured words in Polish that I couldn't fully understand. But he frequently repeated, Matka Boża, Totus Tuus, Mother of God, I am all yours." In his personal diary, found after his death, he wrote, "I entrusted everything to Mary, not just my life, but the destiny of my homeland and all oppressed peoples. Now I know she will act, for nothing is impossible for the Mother of God when her children consecrate themselves totally to her." But how did this extraordinary devotion begin? It all started when Karol Wojtyła was only 20 years old. An elderly worker from the quarry where he worked gave him a worn book, True Devotion to the Blessed Virgin by Saint Louis Marie Grignon de Montfort. John Paul II's secret method wasn't just a series of prayers. It was a complete system of spiritual surrender based on 3 fundamental pillars that very few know about. First pillar, total surrender through spiritual disappearance. At the heart of John Paul II's method was what he called spiritual disappearance, a surrender so complete that the person stops living for themselves and begins to live only for Christ through Mary. This concept finds biblical basis in John 3:30, when John the Baptist says, "He must increase, but I must decrease." John Paul II applied this principle radically in his relationship with Mary, understanding that the more he surrendered to her, the more she molded him in the image of Christ. Second pillar, the consecration of time. The second revolutionary element of John Paul II's method was the consecration of time, a system by which he dedicated each hour of the day to a different mystery of Mary's life. In documents found among his personal belongings, a detailed scheme was discovered that associated each moment of the day with an aspect of Our Lady's life. Upon waking, the Annunciation, offering his daily, yes, during morning work, the Visitation, bringing Christ to others. At noon, the birth of Jesus, allowing Christ to be born in his actions. In the afternoon, the Presentation, offering specific sacrifices. In the evening, the Crucifixion, uniting his sufferings with Mary's at the foot of the cross. Third pillar, the daily specific sacrifice. The third and perhaps most powerful element of the secret method was the daily specific sacrifice, a concrete act of renunciation offered with a precise intention. Monday, fast from words, speaking only when necessary. Tuesday, sacrifice of comfort, such as sleeping without a pillow. Wednesday, food fast, abstaining from something he liked. Thursday, secret service, doing an anonymous act of charity. Friday, acceptance of pain, enduring some discomfort without complaining. Saturday, renunciation of a personal preference. Sunday, sharing what he valued most. Now that you're discovering this powerful method that has been hidden for so long, I want to invite you to join our prayer chain. Leave your name and where you're from in the comments so we can intercede for you, asking Our Lady to pour out the graces of this secret consecration. transformation into your life. Let's now learn about some real story of people who applied this secret method of consecration of St. John Paul II and experienced true miracles. Antonio, a 45-year-old man from Lisbon, Portugal, suffered from a degenerative kidney disease. Doctors had given a terminal diagnosis, saying he would need a transplant within months. Desperate, Antonio met at a spiritual retreat an elderly priest who had worked in the Vatican during John Paul II's pontificate. This priest taught him the Pope's secret method of Marian consecration. Antonio began to faithfully practice the 3 pillars, especially the daily specific sacrifice, offering his pains for sinners. 3 months later, when returning to the hospital for preoperative transplant tests, the doctors were perplexed. His kidneys were functioning normally. The case was documented and sent to the Vatican as a possible miracle attributed to the intercession of St. John Paul II. Dear brothers and sisters, what we've learned today is not just another devotion. It's a sure path to profound spiritual transformation, the same path that led John Paul II to sainthood. Thank you so much for staying until the end of this special video. If this message touched your heart and you wish to experience the power of this secret method of Marian consecration, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to receive more content like this. May Our Lady cover you and your family with her mantle of protection and love. Until the next video.